pajamas or something.
Yeah, but don't start yet, Charlie. I'm going to tell a joke first.
Okay.
I don't want Paul Barnes to be disappointed that he really enjoys my jokes and I do them just for him. So it's good. And so where are we? Yeah, so you've started recording, Anais. Thank you for running the board again, as usual. Really appreciate it. So the joke of the evening is really actually salient to being an Opinion member, because you can only buy wines by the case at Opinion. I don't know if you're not aware of that, Charlie. And so I decide which wine to drink on a case-by-case basis. How's that? Hey, I actually got a laugh. This is excellent. And a bad rumor. It is too, Paul. So thank you, everybody, for putting up with my jokes. I really appreciate that, and for putting up with me. And you're not here tonight to listen to me talk. So we actually have Charlie Villard here. He's actually sitting in a wine bar, and he's gone off to a side room that's quiet. I guess you just go to wine bars every night, Charlie. So it's just to get you off to the side for an hour to chat with us. But and all kidding aside, he was so delighted to have a chance to talk to we Opinion members here in Canada that he's taken the time out and he's got some of his wines with him. And over to you, Sir Charlie. And oh, I wanted to say that this wonderful cover of Charlie has gone viral now. And you're a real surfer, aren't you, Charlie? You actually do surf.
Yeah, I love surfing. Hi everyone, first of all, thank you for hosting me in this Zoom event. And yeah, I have a great passion for the ocean. And actually I surf big waves. I'm talking about 8 to 10 meter waves with jet skis and everything. It's something that I really like. So I'm really connected to the ocean. Every weekend I try to go to the ocean, and it's one of my passions. And so it's where everything comes in sense in the ocean. And it's got something to do also with Casablanca, where we've got this cold climate that is refreshed by the wind that comes from the Pacific Ocean. So yeah, that's more or less me. Well, I send those photos to Opinion, and they really like them, and they posted them. That the real issue here is what we're going to do today, and it's to go through the wines and explore them and discover. And I hope they can make you travel to where we are and to our region, our terroir, and also to understand our philosophy, how we try to interpret, how do you say interpretar, to transmit what our terroir is trying to express from the fruit. We're just the middleman. We try to achieve everything that the nature is trying to express, and we're just the middleman, and we just try to show it the best way into the bottle and then into the glass. So that's more or less. I'm very pleased to be here. As I said, I'm in a wine bar, not because I go to a wine bar every night. I'm actually I'm with some other wine producers presenting some wines to some Brazilian journalists. So it was okay. I presented some wines before, and they're still presenting the wines upstairs, and then we'll share some wines. So first I'll share some wines with you guys, and then with them. No.
And if you have to run out and present another wine, I can always tell jokes while you're away. It's fine.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So,
what would you like to start with?
Well, I think we should go through the whites, and let's go from.
I've got one of the Chardonnay.
The Chardonnay Expression. Well, it's going to be very interesting. We're going to go through 3 Chardonnays. This is going to be really nice. So let's go through the Chardonnay Expression 2020. So what we try to do is the difference between these 3 Chardonnays has to do totally with the vineyard. So we're going to go through Chardonnay Expression first, where this vineyard is a younger vineyard than the other 2 wines. And after that, as it's a younger vineyard, I also try to get a little bit more yield out of this vineyard than the other 2. The other ones, I really stress them and try to get higher concentrations in them. And then this wine, what I do, that it's mainly fermented and kept in stainless steel. But the Grand Vin Chardonnay is 100% barrel fermented and barrel aged. So what I will do after the aging of the Grand Vin, I would select the best barrels that I like for the Grand Vin, and the ones that are not selected go into the Expression. So this wine that we're going to taste now is 45% of Grand Vin, and 55 comes from the Vineyard of Expression. Do you follow up what I'm trying to say?
I understand completely. And if anyone has any questions about that, then let us know. But there are different levels of quality to a certain degree, and also of drinkability and ease of drinking. Am I saying that correctly, Charlie?
Mm-hmm. We try to do a fresher wine where you've got less influence of the oak. Usually the barrels that are not selected are the older barrels, because we keep the barrels until about 5 years. So maybe an old barrel is not on the high quality of the expectation of the Grand Vin, and so it will go into that and go into the Expression. So usually it is the barrels that are a little bit older. So it's higher percentage of stainless steel and a percentage of barrels that are never new barrels. So it's more on the freshness, more on the acidity. It's a more easy drinking wine.
You keep going. I'm just have to go and grab a glass. So you just keep going. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem. As you see, this is 3183, and you all have that chat there, and you can ask me questions regarding the wine or regarding anything of the vineyard or Chile, as you wish. Or any comments also are very welcome. But it's very fruity. It's got a lot of freshness on the nose, very fresh. I would have this with some shellfish or some raw fish, maybe some sushi, sashimi, for example.
I had started with the Pinot Noir, so I needed something for the white.
Okay. Everybody has their camera off and the microphone off. Nobody asks anything. Guys, you have to participate. Okay, you have to make it a little bit enjoyable for on my side. Thank you very much.
And I wasn't going to tell you this, Charlie, until I tried it, and it's absolutely fabulous. This is the 2012 that I'm drinking.
Seriously?
Yeah, and it's phenomenal. It's really, really good.
Well, I see that Elizabeth.
I'm here.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi. I don't have any of your wine though, so I'm here to learn.
Okay.
Great.
I'm new to Opimian.
Yes,
welcome.
You're very welcome. Well, we were just discussing before with Michael that Villard is more than a decade with Opimian. So I'm the second generation, so it's my father who started with the Opimian. Yeah.
Wonderful. Oh, here we have more people coming.
This is a great idea, Charlie. We're seeing everybody's faces. Hello, everybody.
Gary and Joy, Diane, Colette, Les.
Charlie, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I bought this wine the last time it was in the Opimium offering, which, if I'm correct, was 2019.
Yeah.
The
Chardonnay Expression?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I don't think it wasn't available in 2020 because I asked, and I don't believe it was available last year either.
I think it was 2018 vintage.
Maybe it was 2018 then. Do you try to have a consistent flavor to the Expression Chardonnay? So would this vintage be consistent with the other one?
What we try to do is that the Expression is always on the freshness, but it's not exactly the same recipe from year to year, because it has a lot to do with the barrel selection I was explaining before for the Grand Vin. The Grand Vin is like the wine that decides how the expression is going to be. But it's not only, okay, these barrels were not selected, they go exactly in the expression. We go in the lab and we see which barrels go better with the expression. But for example, the 2018, if I don't badly recall, the Grand Vin was so good that there was only 4% of barrels that went into the expression. And it was a larger year of the stainless steel wine. So it was a wine with a much less oak, but it was a more fresher wine with high acidity. So expression can change from year to year. It shows terroir, and then it shows also the barrel selection that we do on the Grand Vin. So basically, no, it's not exactly the same wine year to year. It's from the same grapes, from the same vineyard, but it can change on its barrel select and amount of barrel and stainless steel components.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Charlie, Paul is asking about where the name Expression came from.
Well, basically, it was a name that my father chose because what he wanted to do in that range of wine was really express the variety by itself. So that's why it doesn't have to have a much of oak. It's more about just the grape. It's like just the juice and fermented. But obviously it has a little bit of oak, but it's just a little bit of old oak, just to give a little bit of complexity to the wine. But it's a name that was named and it was received quite well and it stayed there. And I have no intention to change it. I love my name, Expression Reserve. I would get the reserve out. I hate that denomination of the reserve. In Chile, they use a lot of reserva, gran reserva. But you can find in the supermarkets like $5 wines that are called Grand Reserva. So there's no law or denomination regarding that, and that really it bothers me a little bit because, for example, our Expression, that is reserve, that it's not called Grand Reserve, is more expensive than Grand Reserva here in Chile. And so I've always pushed my father in this new decision that only call it Expression, not Expression Reserva. And the Grand Vin was my idea. Instead of putting Grand Reserva, that was usually used here in Chile. I said, no, we're French. Well, my father's French. I said, let's put Grand Vin. And we were the first Chilean winery to put Grand Vin to a wine. And that's our range of wine that is 100% barrel fermented and barrel aged. Yeah.
Great. And where Les was just saying that you were the Founder's Choice selection in 2019, and it's one of his favorite opinion wines of all time. So, and I'll concur with that, Les. I agree. It was phenomenal. And
but I have a surprise for you guys. Can I reveal?
Well, what the heck? Sure. Don't tell Greg.
Okay, we planted Grenache in the vineyard. Syrah has been working well. You know, we're on the higher part of Casablanca, more on the northern, higher to the east-north part of the valley. So it's a little bit warmer. And we planted Syrah. We've done the Syrah Expression, then the Tanagra. It's really worked out well. And we're having these really good achievements with the Syrah. So I said, okay, let's go with these varieties. We cannot plant Cabernet Sauvignon because it's not warm enough. So, but let's go with these varieties that more or less ripe in the same status of the vineyard. So I planted Cabernet Franc, Grenache, Petit Syrah. But Grenache is the one that I have more faith on. And so I planted more, a bigger quantity of surface. And the first harvest was 2020. And I said, okay, let's do this wine. And the result was very interesting. I was really surprised and I'm very happy and everything. And then Opimium approach, Founder's Choice, what are we going to do? Founder's Choice 2020, Grenache, Syrah, Petit Verdot.
Yet another reason to join that subscription series, absolutely. And again, don't tell anybody this, what happens on this call stays on this call, right? So,
Okay.
and we're getting lots here. John is asking about a short history of the vineyard. I actually got to visit it. I was there to see you and your dad, I guess, boy, is that 5, 6, 7 years ago now?
Yeah. Well, the story is that to make it a long story short, my father's French, my mother's Chilean. My parents lived 17 years in Australia working in the wine industry where my brother and I were born. And my father was worked for a big company, wine company that in Australia. And we would visit our family often in Chile for the summers. And in 1999, we decided to move from Australia to Chile. My father did a lot of consulting for other wineries and created Villard. And he created Villard in Casablanca because in Chile there were some good reds in that stage, but there were no good whites. So Casablanca seemed ideal for it because of its cold climate. And once he achieved his first great white wines, he said, well, let's plant Pinot Noir. And we were one of the first to plant Pinot Noir in the valley. And we've been always renamed as one of the best Pinot Noir producers in the country. And that's a long story short. There's a lot of details in the middle, but yeah.
Nicely succinct. And Colette is agreeing with Les about that Founder's Choice, absolutely. And the expression reserve sera as well. So that's great. Yes. Cheers, Colette. And Paul, does Villard, I keep saying Villard. In Deutsch or in Französisch, is it Villard?
In French, it's Villard.
Villard, it is, as well as in Spanish, yes?
In Spanish, they say Villard.
They do, okay. They make wine with, do you make any Carmenere? Carmenere.
No, actually, we do not. And it's one of my less preferred variety in the world. And but we cannot produce or plant Carmenere in Casablanca or Cabernet Sauvignon because we're a cold climate, and Carmenere, it needs a lot of ripeness, a lot of heat to do. So we're not the area for making Carmenere, unfortunately, if it's your cup of tea. Yeah.
And Paul also asking your total production, how many bottles do you make in a year?
Around 120,000, but we're growing. I haven't told you, Michael, but I assumed the general manager since the beginning of the year. So.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's a lot of work and pressure, but I'm happy.
No, that's great. And you guys still own the barrel maker, right?
Yeah, that's my brother who takes care. We have a barrel factory. How do you say? Cooperage company.
Where Cooperage, yes, that's the word I've been looking for.
We're a joint venture with the Cooperage company from France, Nadalier family, where it's 50% Villard, 50% Nadalier. And we supply the whole Latin American industry. So I get a really good discount on the barrels, you can imagine.
Right, yes, yes, that's right. And you know, you had asked for engagement, you're getting it. We'll get to the wines eventually, but Mark's asking if you can expand on the medals that the Grand Vin has won.
Well, I really do not like talking about medals, but they're all on our website, so you can see them. I think I haven't updated them for about a year, but all the wines are rated more than 90, some 94, the Grand Vin, Chardonnay 94, sometimes 93, usually. Yeah.
Great. And Dave is asking how your dad is.
In what aspect? He's tall, he has a mustache, he's got white hair.
How is he in the sense of his health, I think?
In his health, very well.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been very well. He's always got that communication problem that his Dutch is sentenced in English, he turns into French, and then he finishes in Spanish. So
I was saying, Charlie, yeah, I'm the Dave that asked the question. Very early in the winery, we were in Chile with the Epiphany Society and the area reps in the early 2000s, and that's when we first met your dad and had your wines down there in the beautiful Casablanca Valley. So We
Oh,
affectionately
great.
follow him and you now.
Okay, great. Well, I'm gonna give him your best regards then, Dave. Thank you very much.
And before I unmute, I just want to know why no Sauvignon Blanc this year on the Opinion offering.
We had a very complicated COVID situation. We had a very poor sales in 2019. We got a bit afraid. We have to pay salary, so we made a very small vintage, thinking that we were going to make a small year, and things changed around, and fortunately sales picked up, and we sold out of everything, but we had made less wine and sold some grapes. That's the reason.
Hope it comes back.
That's coming back next year for sure.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm gonna harvest it in about 3 weeks or something like that, 4 weeks more or less of the Sauvignon Blanc. So don't worry.
That's great. And shall we taste another wine, Charlie?
Yeah, I think we should move on to the Chardonnay Grand Vin. I think well, basically the Chardonnay Grand Vin, you know, it's a fantastic wine. It's a very growing wine that it's unbelievably for us. For example, in 2 Michelin restaurants in New York, you can find this wine on the glass. So that makes you so proud, because you know, you've got a big team of wine experts there behind selecting the wines in such a difficult market as New York, and to be selected on the wine on the glass by that. This is a very Burgundy style of Chardonnay, very elegant, smooth. I would say it's right in the middle of Burgundy in style. Very elegant, subtle, long, high acidity, but very creamy, but not over too much body. And so I love this wine. But I think immediately I should talk about the other wine that is Arganat. Does anybody know? Maybe you could read it the other way around there, or no?
Oh, it's Tanagra backwards.
Yes, good one.
That makes sense. Okay.
Her sister and brother.
See, I learned something at every single one of these. That's great. Yes,
Well,
I've got the
I'm gonna tell you a
Tanagra here.
story. Yeah. I'm going to tell you a story.
Yes,
Every
please.
year we were making Le Chardonnay Grand Vin. We would try new barrels. My brother would supply us with different barrels that I think would go better with Chardonnay. And a couple of years ago, well, Tonnellerie Nadalier bought a tonnellerie in Burgundy called Marsanais. And this tonnellerie was specifically make barrels for Burgundy. And what are the varieties of Burgundy? Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. So we started importing these barrels, and he had different kinds of barrels. One was called Quartz from Marsanais Tonnellerie. So we started using these barrels. And next year we would purchase new barrels, and we would only buy these barrels because every time we would do the tasting, we were overblown from this barrel, Marsanais Quartz. And every year we would taste the barrels and we say, we cannot believe the quality of this wine, how the wine expresses itself. It would be a new barrel, but the wine would never be over oaked. It would really push up the fruit and the minerality. And we were so impressed that 2019, we said, okay, let's make this wine, because we've been 3 years talking about it. So we selected the oldest vineyard, part of the vineyard. We whole clustered pressed the grapes, did a little batch and fermented it 100% in this Marsanais Quartz barrels, 100% new barrels. And we made 1,400 bottles of this wine. We didn't know how to name it. We always named it for 3 years Quartz, but that name was already on a wine. And after days of thinking about it and everything, I said, well, why don't we call it Arganat? That is the other way around of Tanagra. and their brothers and sisters. So that's
It's a great story.
yeah, same packaging.
I think, and everybody here will know that I don't drink a lot of whites, but I think you've convinced me. I think I'm going to have to get that one. I have been buying things at a collector's corner. So
this is one of the best white wines I've drank in many years, for sure.
oh, that's great. And you're signing every bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. I was glad you knew that.
I do. I do know. Okay, I want to move on to the Pinot Noir Expression. That is the coup de coeur of Jane Master. Can you explain a little bit to us what is the coup de coeur?
So coup de coeur meaning, and it's got about 46 different translations to English, but the one we choose is love at first sight. And so when Jane tries 350 wines for any particular cellar, where she chooses the 70 or so that we put in, the 4 top scoring ones become coup de coeur. And so what we always tell, what you'll see in our cellars is that we're trying to help people make choices from these 70 wines about which ones, and you can never go wrong with coup de, well, you can't go wrong with any of them because they've all been tasted and they've passed muster. But the 4 top scoring wines become a coup de coeur, and they're just a no-brainer. So congratulations on being a coup de coeur, because it's a rare thing.
Thank you. Yeah, well, this Pinot Noir, you know, there's always a wine in a winery that you sell as most. This is our best-selling product, Pinot Noir Expression. It goes everywhere. And you know, Pinot Noir is a difficult variety to sell. It's much easier to sell Cabernet or Carmenère, but it's not us. So for years, we struggled for selling Pinot Noir, and now it's our best-selling product. Just to know, I think Pinot Noir is about 5% of plantations in the whole country. So it's nothing. Yeah, I think it's even 3%. So it's very low.
Right.
And we were the first to plant Pinot Noir in the valley. So this is our signature wine. This is us. This is what we're known for. This is our this is the wine from our portfolio that has been on more tables and been mostly shared. Yeah.
And if I recall, the reason you're able to do Pinot Noir so well in that climate, it has to do with orientation of your vines, right?
Yeah, well, as we have a lot of hills on the winery, I exposed all the Pinot Noirs on the morning sun. So when the sun rises, you get the sun from the morning rise. But yeah, when it's already midday, yeah, it's more shady, and it's got shade all the afternoon, because I want fresh fruit and nice acidity. And all the Syrahs, I put them on the other side of the hill, so it's got all afternoon sun. So it's more, so you can ripe. Just to get you in concept, the difference of harvesting of the Pinot Noir is end of February, and the Syrah, I will harvest it at the end of April. 2 months of difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? Wow. Well,
oh, I don't think you can see, but the color of this wine is very fresh. I hope I don't spill my computer right now.
that would be bad.
Yeah, but this is it's a very beautiful color. And so this is the same concept of expression. It's a wine that is only a percentage of the wine was in barrels, and the main part was in stainless steel. And I always noted on the back label. I think it's this year it's 36%. I can't remember much, but as usual, it's a percentage of the wine that was in barrels, and it's basically barrels with a couple of years, and then the rest is stainless steel. So it's all on the freshness and the nice acidity, etc. You know that I've never been to Canada?
Well, it's time that you come. That yeah, we're hoping to start doing in-person events again very soon with COVID behind us, touch wood. But yeah, you're welcome anytime. We'd be delighted to have you come.
Okay, that'll be great.
Yeah, it's a little cold right now. That's here in Kitchener. We've just had 2 feet of snow last week, and we just got another foot last night. So
Wow.
it's a little crazy. Yeah. But,
And what about temperature?
what about?
Temperature? What temperature do you have?
Oh, so I'm -4 right now,
Wow.
but it was down to -20 last week. Just crazy.
Wow.
And what's it like where you are?
No, today was about 27 in Santiago.
Yeah.
Casablanca is a little bit more fresher, and it's more cloudier in the morning. So it's you get
Great. Okay. Well, let's move on, Charlie. Come on.
Okay.
It
What are we going to talk
just
about?
makes me jealous.
Yeah. So, well, the next wine is the Pinot Noir Grand Vin. That this is the Pinot Noir Grand Vin is
Cheers.
the bigger brother of the Pinot Noir Expression,
Right.
and 100% barrel fermented, barrel aged, sorry. And then we do a barrel selection. Something that I haven't mentioned, that as we have a tonnellerie, I use a lot of different sizes of barrels. So we have foudre, we have 600-liter barrels, 500-liter barrels, 400-liter barrels, and 300-liter barrels. I do not use much 22-25 barrels, only in Syrah, where I need more of the barrel to do an impact on the wine. And somebody put -35 here in Yellowknife. Wow. That's very cold. I haven't never experienced that. Wow.
And I think a little earlier, Renee was hoping that she'd had some of your wines. She doesn't have any with her. You'll have to order some this year, so you've got them for next year's, Renee.
Yeah. And well, the Pinot Noir Grand Vin, it's a difference from the Pinot Noir Expression. It's a wine that is a more serious and gastronomic wine that I would have maybe with a confit canard, with with some potatoes and some champignons. How do you call it? Mushrooms, or maybe a stroganoff or something like that, where you need a little bit more of volume, but always with the freshness of the Pinot Noir. It's a more gastronomic wine. The Pinot Noir Expression, I take it as an aperitif. I always like it with some charcuterie and things like that. And, enjoy it just before dinner. Yeah.
Well, and Charlie, I rarely talk about price and value on these calls, but I have to say that this particular wine is such a great value for money. It just, I drink a lot of it. So, yeah. Cheers, everybody.
I would maybe go to Yellowknife, but maybe in August, I think it's
right. Sure. Yeah, I think you'll want to come to Canada in summer, and we'll take you coast to coast to coast.
No, okay,
yeah.
Great. But I think my father went once, and he did the motoneige.
Oh, I see some nodding heads. Yes. Interesting.
My father took how do you call those motonieve?
Skidoo.
Yeah, and he went with some friends, but in winter, I think he had a really good time. It was fantastic. He really enjoyed himself.
Oh, isn't that fun?
Okay, and well, we're gonna move on to Tanagra. Tanagra is our icon wine. Started creating it in 2005 when I arrived to the company. And Tanagra is a special wine. It comes from a 1.5 hectare vineyard, where I planted the vineyards in a different style. It's planted in bush vines, and it's at 8,300 plants to an hectare. Just to make you understand, the rest of the vineyards are planted around 5,000 plants to an hectare, and a traditional vineyard in Chile is planted at about 4,000 plants to an hectare. So this is double the density of plantation. So there's more plants to an hectare. And so the plants are so next to one to the other that the plants can't grow in all their expression. They are little bunches of vineyards. It's like bush vines. It's like a bonsai. And so the grapes are also smaller. So they produce tiny grapes like that. But we do this on purpose. We stress the vineyard. So they grow smaller grapes and they have higher concentration in their berries. Once we harvest that, we take it to the vineyard, and then this wine is fermented. Instead of inside a tank, I put the grapes in the barrel through the hole with a funnel, all by hand, and each barrel is on 4 wheels, and I turn the barrel 8 times a day. It's a lot of labor intensive, but the result is another world, because you've got this flavor that comes from that vineyard that is so unique that you will year to year just express itself from the climate. And then, as it's never gone through a pump, never touched, being made with the help of electricity, it's just made handcrafting. The wine is so smooth. It's well, maybe you've tasted it, Michael.
I have. I've got another bottle here. I literally only have 2 bottles left from the case, and it's only the 2017. So I've got to order it again this year. And it was a collector's corner last year and sold so well, we of course brought it back. So thank you for letting us do that. And also to put it in 3 packs to make it more accessible is terrific. So that's very helpful. But and I don't mind saying that the private Facebook group, that they've seen me go on and on about this wine, so they've asked me to do a tasting with them. So we're going to actually arrange that tasting, and perhaps if you're available, Charlie, we'll get you involved. And
great.
Yeah, we'll do a tasting. And I tell you what, anybody who's on this call, I know Anais has the list, and we can invite them to that tasting as well. And we'll open that up and do like a really professional tasting with it, eh?
Okay, great.
Yeah. And maybe the 17, and what are we selling this year?
This year we're the 20.
The 20, yeah. So so I think that would be interesting to even do just that really short vertical to see the difference between the 2 as well.
That would be great.
Yeah,
I see that Paul says, I bought a case last year, very smooth wine.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it, Paul? Like that's it's fantastic. So thank you for making it. Thank you for making it available to us. We really appreciate it.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. And then we move on to the rarities. These are for the wine lovers, as I say, or for the people that drink too much wine. These are the natural wines, JCV wines, that go for my initials, Jean-Charles Villard. I don't know if everybody knows what orange wine is, but
enlighten us.
Okay, just to make you understand, a white wine is made from white grape varieties. And how do you make a white wine? Is that you harvest the grapes and you press the grapes and ferment only the juice. A red wine is produced from red grapes and is fermented with the grapes crushed. Okay, so that means with the skins and the seeds. And you maintain it for at least 2 to 3 weeks with the skins and the seeds. But you could make a white wine from red grapes if you press the red grapes immediately and you obtain only the first run, the juice run, and it would be a clear juice because you don't have the contact of the skin. Do you understand? An orange wine is a white variety grape fermented like a red wine, so with the skins and the seeds, but even an extended longer time. In the case of the Ramato 2020 that is on this listing, it has been in contact with the grapes for 60 days. You never do that in a red wine.
Wow.
And you never do it in a white wine. A white wine doesn't have any skin contact.
So and Kim Chen is saying that that we actually wrote about this in Vino Etc. in January 2019. So you can actually see that a lot of people actually have a library of those Vino Etc. But also you can find it on the website as well.
So as you can see, the color, it's very unique. It's a very unique color for a wine. So this is I have good sales of these wines in these natural wine bars around the world, especially in New York and the States, and some more hipster avenues, I would say. Maybe Japan also, Hong Kong, Paris also. So it's basically, it's also some people that work in the wine industry that and younger people also. So it's a wine, a very different wine that that is very nice as an aperitif or after dinner wine, and it's very unique. It takes you, I would say, more or less, it blows your mind in a certain way that you can't understand where your feet are, because you don't know. It's not a white, it's not a red, it's totally a new world. Yeah.
And that's in all things, like in essence, like in the nose of it, and in the palate of it, and in the body of it, everything, right?
The nose, you would say, wow, what is this? It's like, it doesn't smell like a normal wine. It even has a little bit of a nose of vermouth or barley, you know, that sense. It's very unique. You have to understand, it's been 60 days in contact with skins. And also slight oxidation, you know, very subtle, you know, also a little bit hint of Jerez cherry, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Not all these different matices that go into the wine. So yeah, very interesting to do blind tasting with people. Yeah,
I bet. Yes, that would be. And Desi's asking what happens if you decant an orange wine.
it will be even better, and even try it from one day to the other. That will even be better for the wine, because the wine has been 60 days in contact with the skin, so it's got a lot of tannins. The wine is very protected, so it's not as subtle to oxidation as other wines.
And that's an interesting point, because I think a lot of people worry that natural wines will spoil very easily and you'll get a lot of corked bottles, but that isn't the case, is it? It's no different than any other.
Because it's got high acidity, that is a natural preservant of the wine. And this wine only receives a little percentage of sulfur just before the bottling, because otherwise you could never export it. It will never go through the Ecuador. So all natural wines have to have a little bit of, but you have to understand that never the wine sees sulfur or touches sulfur in the whole process, only just before the bottling, and it's a minimum quantity. So it's also protected, and you have a very good climate down there, so to protect the wine. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. I can't wait to try that one.
So we've gone through the whole.
Oh, that's right. We did the Argonaut early, so that's great. Yes,
we went a little bit fast, but it's great. Now we're gonna open the Zoom for some questions and let make it a little bit back and forward with you guys and make it a little bit more funnier for me. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. It's now up to us, everybody.
Here I have Kim.
Oh, and look, Kim Chen. Yeah, unmute yourself, Kim Chen. Go ahead.
Micro on. How you doing, Kim?
Hey, I'm doing well. Well, I have to say, last year I went all the way in natural wine.
Yeah.
I had the orange wine and the white. I don't remember the orange wine, so I can't tell you about it. But the Simeon one, it's unfiltered, so there's a lot of sediment. So it's very, when you drink it, you see that all the craft, the work behind it, and it's actually it's a very good one. I'm a big white wine drinker, and I have to admit, Semillon in a natural, it's different. Like it's not the regular Semillon that
Yeah.
you would bring as a regular, and it's great to explore and try something new. So among these two, I have still like taste memories of this one.
Oh,
So
great. That was a 30-day skin contact. That is also an orange wine, but I don't call it an orange wine. But an orange wine is also, it's always when it has skin contact. And the skin contact, what does it do? It apports tannins to the wine, so it gives a little bit more of backbone and like a skeleton to the wine. That's what I like to call it. So it makes the wine a little bit more standing up, more stiff, and so it's better to aging a little bit in that sense. Yeah. Where are your major export markets? United States is a good market. Asia also, we do Europe. Brazil is a very good market also. Dubai and Abu Dhabi. And then we do a little bit, a little bit Peru, a little bit Mexico, a little bit Spain, France. Belgium is a very good market. Germany, Holland is going very slow lately. Hong Kong is small, China is big, Taiwan is small, Korea is big. And yeah, that's about it.
And is there some domestic? You do sell some domestically as well?
Domestic has gone very well. It's my biggest
Yeah.
market. It's my biggest market. Domestic, yeah. I'm present in the best restaurants in the country, and there's, I would say, more than about 120. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And
So
thank you,
volume-
Rosemary. Looking forward to seeing you on Facebook as well. And then Les is asking about the weights of the bottles, and I think we've all talked about this, about sustainability and all those things. And have you something to say about that, Charlie, about bottle weights, containers, that sort of thing?
All the Expression and JCF wines are eco glass bottles. They're like the lightest bottles in this category that we can find. So I can't go any lighter than this because otherwise it would break on the way. And then on the, for example, Tanagra and Argonaut, this is a wine, an expensive wine, and we don't use like the ultra heavy bottles. We really try to keep that in mind, and also in another sense about recycling and sustainability, etc. Yeah, we've always thought about that.
Yeah. And Diane's asking about experimentation with grapes and what's next for you.
Well, as I said, and the first ones to try it are going to be your guys. It's the first Grenache, and it's going to be blended with Syrah, a little bit of Petit Verdot. But the Grenache, on the second year, I fermented it on its own and did a lot of whole cluster, 55% whole cluster to it. And I'm going to do a JCV Grenache. That's going to be bottled next month. So I'm really excited about that. And I also did Carignan from Maule with old vines. And what else do I have?
Yeah, but other than that, like, what have you done, Charlie? Really? Come on.
No, it's another good stuff.
Wow. Yeah, there's never ending, is it? It's you're obviously you're so passionate and fascinated by it. You'll just keep at it.
Yeah. Dave is asking about the Chardonnays going through malolactic fermentation.
Yeah.
Just to put you in context, Dave, 15 years ago, maybe we would go through about 30% of malolactic, maybe 35% of the wine would go through malolactic. Today, I would say we're down to 8 in some wines, 5 in other years, maybe 3% in another years, because the tendency of my style and understanding is to go less on malolactic, just to give a little bit of smoothness to the wine, but not overpower. Otherwise, the wine will become more tiring. And I really like the firmness and the grip on Chardonnays. I like to keep them fresh. So that, and also global warming has made Chardonnays a little bit more heavier. So you play with the malolactic fermentation, you keep them fresher. So it makes a lot of sense when what I try to do. So that's why I've gone in less quantity of malolactic fermentation. How many people are employed at the vineyard? We're about 11 employees in total. So it's a very small structure, especially for Chile, that is one of the less quantity of wineries per vineyard planted. So every vineyard is big scale. My wife and I are planning to trip to Chile in October, November 2022. Would January, February be any better? Are there companies or resources in Chile which could help us with the wine focus in the trip? Yes, of course. Send me an email at jcvillard@villard.cl and I'll put you in contact with Alejandra regarding the October, November, or January, February. October, November will be spring, so a lot of flowers going out. Everything will be blooming and the birds will be singing. And it's very nice. It's very nice. There's going to be less tourists, less traffic jams. January, February is summertime, so the beaches are packed. It's hotter, a little bit hotter. I would say you could have up to 30 degrees Celsius in January, February. October, you will have 25 or something like that. Depending on the year, the day of the week, or the climate, and it's up to you. Decide that. Both are fantastic at dates. So,
but then you'll be harvesting Pinot Noir in February, so you could use the help, right?
Yes,
Yes.
it will be end of February. End of February is harvesting time.
Yeah. Right. No, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Charlie. Really, really appreciate it, taking the time. And I know you've got some journalists to talk to out there on the other side of the wall. Yeah. So we really appreciate that. Thank you, Anais, for running the board. Thank you, everybody, for laughing at my jokes and coming back to this time and time again. We really appreciate it. I was serious. I learned something new every day when we do these, and enjoy them so very much. So thanks, Charlie. And we'll be in touch about the Tanagra tasting for Facebook, and we'll see if we can get Charlie available. He's a busy guy, so I won't blame you, Charlie, if you can't take the time. But
I always have to organize some time, so no problem.
That's great. So thanks again, everybody. See you next time. And Charlie, I'll give you the last word. Please go ahead.
No, thank you very much. Always pleased to share some words with people that want to learn about wine or just want to listen what I say. No, I hope you have a great evening over there, and well, the wines are there, so please, if you want to enjoy them, you know what to do. And if anybody wants to come to Chile, you know, all the premium members have a special treat at Villard. Okay.
Oh, that's marvelous. Thanks again. Appreciate it. Good night, everybody. Stay warm.
Ciao.
Okay, bye-bye. Ciao, ciao.